So here we go, another day, another race. I haven't put a race on for a while, I'll tell you why that in a minute. But here we are on the stage one, the Cobble Crusher in France. And yeah, it might suit me, this one. There's not too much climbing going on. This is the post-race watch along, if you like. That's me in the corner. Nearly broke into song there, a bit of an REM job. So I'm in the blue with the 15 on the back, just so you know I am. Grey hair, no helmet. Just warming up, got about 10 seconds to go, and then I'll take you through what was a fabulous race, actually. So as always, you can see me ramping up the power there. I'll tell you about some of my previous races that I recorded, but I haven't put them up. I might put a montage of them up. So straight away out the blocks, fairly quickly. In our group, it looks like we've got about 25 in the D category. Straight away, like nearly always happens if you've not raced before, you end up pushing 300 watts to keep up with whatever group you can tag on at the end of. What you normally find is that there is a breakaway fairly early on, and if you're not in that front group, you're going to struggle to catch them back up again. So you've got to put it in, I'm afraid. So there we go. We're all kicking out some watts. I'm in this group, and I can see on my companion app that there's, it's snaked already. There's two groups. I think we end up with about 12 in this group, and then we have the rest of them are behind. So there's something wrong with my connection on this day, because I got a few of them black squares popping up, and then the river kept disappearing. So, and I've got really good internet connection here, so I don't know why. Here's me, take my foot off the gas a little bit. Just got to make sure that I don't drop back off those. You can see the 44 meters. If you look at them people at the bottom are behind, so there's no way I want to drop off this. Concentrating. I've been doing a lot of group rides where I'll go back and help the sweepers, and it really helps on keeping your power high for a long period of time. Or when you drop off the back, you can just put a few pedals strokes down and just ease your way back up again. That's when I first started, I used to find that really hard, whereas now if I'm telling myself down and I just drop off a meter or so, I can just in two strokes I can work my way back up again. I'm getting a lot stronger, and I found that on this ride. But let me tell you about, before we go, we're just starting now, just finished the lead up, so we're starting lap one. My power up is a draft. All right, so I want to get rid of that before the end and get an aero with a bit of luck. So anyway, I'm off the front here. I did do a few other races, and I was coming second and third in most of the races, and then all of a sudden I did a box hill race. That was a disaster, so I got dropped. Still finished, but ended up at about 30th. And then we did I did the Scotland course, and it's about 5 laps, and it's just that hill, that 12% gradient hill. First lap I was all right. Second lap I caught them all back up again. Third lap they just dropped me on the hill, and then once the little group is away, like it can happen here, they're going that fast, and you're on your own, and you can't catch them back up again. So didn't have enough legs for that. But then I've done a couple of endurance rides on Saturday mornings, like 50 miles or a bit longer, and tried doing quite a few hills or a lot of group rides in hills, because they're just my nemesis. So today was going to be different. So after 3 races, I think, where I've come nowhere, this is an afternoon race. I've just finished my contract, so I've got a little bit more time during the day, and there's less people in these. So we've got a group of there's 31 in our group by the looks of it. I'm at the back of our group, which is, there's 12 people in it, but there's 31 in our category, should I say. And I'm feeling all right here. You can see me on the left-hand side, not really extending myself too much, not trying to go at the front too much. Just getting it's not that long a race. Look, we've got 22.9 kilometers left, but that will go down really, really quickly. So we are bombing along quite quick, and it's just a matter of holding together, isn't it? I do know though that there is 126 or maybe 136 meters of climbing, and currently we've done 0. So I know it's coming, and I'm going to attack them today. I was conscious of not just spinning up a hill and letting the hill, letting the hill get the better of me. I thought, no, I'm going to go in a bit of a stronger gear, and I'm going to I'm going to really push up the hills, because if there's only 136 meters of hills, and I've done this course a little bit before. We went on a social ride around here the other week, and there's not any sustained hills. It's more or less some rolling hills where you're going up and then down and then up and then down. So you're getting the break all the time. So I'm conscious I still haven't hit one, but I've got a feeling, as soon as I saw that lighthouse, I thought I've seen that before. And the ride I did, where we did a 50-mile ride on a Saturday morning, I thought, do you know what? We came along this route. I know this route. So, and I knew it wasn't that bad. And I went to the back in that and started doing some sweeping, so pushing some watts out. So I'm quite happy. You can see I'm constantly at the moment, heart rate's 118, watts 160. I'm trying to just get in the pack and just bimble along. There's a guy bombed off the front there, but I took the gamble on thinking he's got 20 kilometres to go plus. And to be honest, he went off the front on a sprint, so he might even just PB hunting. So we'll soon catch him back up again, is my guess. And the other thing I've got turned on, which I didn't turn on, but must be just for this race, it must be one of the updates, is and I know you can do it, I think you press K or something on your keyboard, is your zones down the bottom, your zone colours. You know, so I'm not going in the red here, I'm finding the green quite easy, and I think there's a grey. Grey's next to nothing. And then you've got, you know, your blue and then your green areas. And then obviously when you put a bit more in, you're hitting your yellows and your reds. So I'm just consciously trying to save putting too many watts in. A nice little group. 12 isn't bad, is it? It might be too big near the end. So my tactics today are, I have been sprinting a little bit better. So I thought I did I came second in a race before this one in London, and I felt really, really good, and I held on all the way, and I thought, just go off the back of these 7 riders near the end, and my sprint's been a bit better, and I'll just fly past them all. But I was mixing ambition with ability a little bit, because I missed the break. So as soon as they set off, about what I should have done was ramp it up from about 800 meters left and then sustain it, then put a sprint in. What I did do was went all in with about 200 meters left, and they'd already gone. So there's no way I could catch them, and I was going faster than anybody else at the end of that race. And you're thinking that's just a tactical error. So I was really annoyed with myself. So I thought, today there's one thing that's not going to happen. I'm not getting out first jumped. So there's no way today, if somebody's going to go 500 meters to go, it's going to be me. I'm not going to be the person who missed it again and then caught everybody up at the end, because you just don't win that way. You've got to be proactive. And if you are proactive and you get out the front and they catch you, fair enough. At least you were out the front trying to win, not you weren't just making a token effort at the end, and you're still as tired at the end, so you may as well be leading and trying to get in that first place and get the jump on them. So this is the first race where I've really thought I'm going to do that. And I don't want to lead them out and give them an easy ride, but what I want to do is ramp the watts up, 300, 400, 500, and then put a little sprint maybe up to 700 if I've got it in my legs. And at least if anyone beats me, they've deserved it. Whereas I do feel in the London race, and I'll probably put a montage of all the rubbish races I did, including that one, even though it wasn't as bad. And I'll explain what I did wrong, because I just knew at the end of the race, I'm thinking I'm just catching everybody up, and I've just started too late, and we're on the mall. I know where the mall is. I should have done it a lot earlier, and just stupidity really. And I was saying after that race, I was saying, look, 25 minutes hard work, and I've just thrown it away. And what's the, you've got to put the hard work in to get yourself in a position, and then when you tactically get it so wrong, it's not great. Anyway, back to this race. So where are we? 19 kilometres left. There's not much going on, but you'll see that during this race, I go off the front a few times, and a few other people also do that. And all we were trying to do, all in my head, I don't know what everyone else is trying to do, I was just trying to whittle this group down from 12 and maybe try and lose a couple. So because I felt fairly strong here, I'm still conserving energy. I'm doing 160 watts, 150 watts. I'm just sitting at the back of this group. But as the race develops, you'll see I fly off the front and somebody else flies off the front, and I think they're doing the same thing. We're just thinking, can we get this group down to 8 maybe? And then something interesting happened. So you can see we've done 1 meter of climbing so far. So I'm very conscious of that. I'm just trying to sit in the pack right now. But when we do start climbing, I've either got better at climbing, or this is just a small group who are as bad as me. This is the cobble, stage 1 of the cobble classic, or whatever it's called. So we do have a lot of cobbles here. And I did watch Zwift D Zwifter. He's got a great channel. If you want to go watch him, he's just won this race, and I watched this beforehand. Yes, I fast forwarded it a lot, but I was quite keen to know. He nearly got dropped on this cobble section because he wasn't paying attention. But I just wanted to know what it ended like, so I did look at that, and he won that race. So well done. Go look him up. But here we go. So 19 kilometers left. Still just mosey on away. I did look on my Zwift companion app and at this point, and the other group, and I think you'll be able to see it in the bottom right hand corner just over my shoulder. There you go, 17 seconds. So that second group is 17 seconds behind us. So they're more or less gone. They're going to have to put a massive effort in to come back. So I'm currently 12th at the back of this pack, and then we've got a 17-second delay. I actually went to the back on purpose there to see how far away they were, because you only see, if you're near the front, you only see the people right behind you. So I consciously went to the back of the pack here just to see, right, they're 17, because I could see it on my companion app, and I thought, right, they're not coming back into this. But I thought I'll monitor that time. So that's me being a bit cleverer during a race. At the beginning when I first started racing, there's no way I would have done that, because I'd have been too bothered about just watching the screen, making sure I didn't lose the gap, making sure I was not putting too much effort in, and when I'm toweling myself down, I would end up off the back, and then I didn't have the legs to just sort of be punchy. Like here, I'm just being a bit punchy. We've gone up to 396 watts up a hill, because I know the hills don't last. I'm just thinking, right, just get over the hills, don't get dropped. So again, I've only done 7 meters climbing, you can see at the top. But straight away I'm thinking, well, as you know, I've only got 120 meters to go. And if they're all going to just be punchy climbs like that, I can do that. It's when you've got this sustained effort of, 2 or 3 minutes of a 5 or 6 gradient I struggle with. But I did notice I flew up that hill just with a few pedal strokes, and I ended up at the front and thinking, what doesn't normally happen with me on hills? So I thought this is the way to go, be punchy. Whereas you'll see one guy, I think he's coming up to me now. Can you see how fast his legs are going? He was like Mr. Spinner, I was calling him during the race. He just flies, his legs are going so fast. So God knows what gears he's in. So he's adopting a different strategy, whereas I am trying to be punchy up the hills and get up them as fast as I can. Yes, it'll take a bit of effort. But then I kept ending up the front on the hills, and it's very surprising that happened, especially if you watch my race you can't watch it, I haven't put it up, in Scotland, where I got dropped. Just had nothing on the hills. It can be a little bit boring, the France scenery. Some of it, it's absolutely beautiful, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it is very much the same. When I went up Lorraine, Mont Ventoux or whatever it's called, it's just straight road for 2 hours. Yeah, that was hard work. But there's a few nice bits and bobs. You've got the odd balloon here and there, haven't you? But it's very much just the rolling countryside, isn't it? But again, back to the race. The kilometres are disappearing fairly quickly. I may fast forward a little bit of this, and if it's all going to be the same, I'll talk through it now. But if I do fast forward, then I'll just pick you up a little bit nearer the end. But I am going to talk on the full race. I might publish too, you never know. So again, quite a comfortable race for me so far. My heart rate's 126, 125. My heart rate doesn't go crazy. It starts very low, never gets really into the 160s. So I'm in a mid-range there. Probably like to just rest a little bit and get in the pack, which is what I try and do. There's someone with the same kit as me on, and we have a little bit of a ding-dong at various parts during this race, but it's fun. At the back, I'm in position A here, so tactically I do get better and worse, because I end up off the front sometimes, but it's quite nice being at the back of this, getting a full bit of draft in there. You're hardly pushing. I'm only pushing 143, 127 there, like 112, and what I have noticed is when I do go off the front, if I've pushed a little bit too much in the draft, I just ease off a little bit. I don't really stop pedaling, because what's the point? You may as well, you've got momentum, haven't you? You may as well keep that momentum going. Here's another hill that I'm punching up, look. So it's not much, it's only a 3 gradient, but straight away I thought, put some power down, don't get dropped. That's my intention after a couple of races where I did. And then I end up sort of mid to front again. And I'm thinking, there's only 12 of us. Everyone can't be brilliant at climbing, everyone can't be brilliant at sprinting. So I'm quite confident here that I could maybe attack on a hill, even though it's not my forte, but every hill so far, I've just put a bit of effort in and flew past everybody. So I am conscious of that, and I didn't watch that part of the race on the other guy's feed, which I wish I did. I wish I'd watched the last sort of 5 kilometres, but I didn't. But I knew there was, because I knew how much climbing there was, I knew there was some more hills coming up, and the kilometres just went further down and down. So I did have it in my head, which I've never ever thought before, you know, if there's a hill near the end, I might just fly up that, get a gap and do the long heave ho, you know, try and get to the end instead of making it a sprint. So I've got all these delusions of grandeur in my head. There's a river disappearing, looks, I don't know what's up with my connection, unless it was just Zwift. But yeah, we haven't lost anybody. It looks here that we may have lost a couple, but I think I'm probably in about 11th there, and there's one behind us. I know it says 9th, but I think I was in about 11th. We may have lost one from the 12. No, we haven't, have we? Look, I was 10th there. So we have got 12 in this group still. And I'm not very happy about that, because I'm thinking, well, someone would be better than me at sprinting. Someone would be better at climbing. Again, we've hit another gradient. But they're not very long, are they? So we're just punching up them and then punching down them. So this is where I think a couple of us think, let's attack on the downhill and see if we can lose anybody. And there is a few gaps growing. You see them down the bottom where people are 1 metre, 2 metre, 5 metres. So putting a bit in here. I think we're just testing the water. We're just saying, right, can we get rid of a couple of people? And it's not just me. There's quite a few of us putting a bit of an effort, and then we know a little bit of a hill's coming up again. So we're just testing out the weaker ones at the back and seeing if they can live up to this, which they probably can. You know, they can probably just pick up the draft again. We've still got 17 seconds back to that other group, so the winner's coming out of this group probably, unless they miraculously do something special. Again, just post myself at the back of this group, knowing that if I got dropped a metre or so, if I was towing myself down, I can just put a 2-second effort in just to get back on board. And that's what I didn't used to have when I started. I started in December the 22nd when I got the power meter and I got Zwift, and I could never have done that. You know, if there was a meter gap of where it flashes up and says you got to catch up again, I now just put the hammer down for a couple of pedal strokes and you're back in range. Whereas before that was a big effort, and then you've burnt one of your matches, haven't you? And then it'd happen again, you'd burn another match. Whereas now, I don't feel like I'm burning any matches if I drop off a metre or so. I just put a couple of pedal strokes in and there. And the same, I suppose, this is the first time that's happened in a race with the hills. I know there's not many hills here, but I felt I could just power up them, and I was gaining on the field as opposed to losing on the field. Whereas every race I've done with hills in before, even when I do the London one, it's not very long, but there's a hill there where everyone attacks on, and I've just got to make everything up, and then again there's 2 more matches of mine gone, and everyone else has still got a full box. So I am trying to be proactive here, especially on the hills, knowing they're not too long. You know, I can get out the saddle and do 3 or 4 strokes, and then I'm up the hill. Well, why not do that? That's what you do outside, wouldn't you? You know, you would if you see a hill coming up and you've got a downhill section, you speed up, and then you're 3/4 of the way up the hill before you know that you're actually putting much effort in. So I was trying to do a little bit of that. Not very happy about my my drafting power up. Wanted an aero, and luckily there's a sprint comes up in a bit, and I noticed it too late. So I'm thinking, if I don't get rid of this drafting one, I won't pick up another power up. But I noticed it that bad. I had to drop at the back of a pack just in case, just so that would finish before we got our power up. And it's coming up here. I think it's this sprint. I'm thinking, oh my god, I've got to lose this truck. I don't really want that. I'd rather have an aero. But then because I think this is the tour. It's a tour of somewhere, and you get double power ups. So you'll see in a second I'm hitting this power up, then I drop back thinking I don't even want to use it. I want to get rid of it. So I've just hit it there, look, and I'm thinking if I go over the line here before that's finished, you know what it's like. You don't get anything. I don't know if I would get something or not, but I'm right on the limit. So if you think I'm getting dropped here, I'm not. I mean, this might be the game changer of winning or losing the race, because I need another power up, hopefully an aero. You know how much that gives you, and I didn't notice I was having a gel there, look, and I'm thinking, oh please run out, boom. Sort of did that right on the line. So I didn't want to drop too far because of how much effort I'd have to put back in. I'm guessing I wouldn't have got a power up if I didn't time that perfectly, but it was close. I wasn't expecting another one, you see, so that's why I'd kept it that long. But now I've got my aero, so I'm very happy now. I've had to put in a bit of effort to catch the group back up again, but I'm very happy I've got an aero. And then people are using aeros. I mean, what are you doing? Don't know, there's a long way to go, isn't there? And I'm expecting us not to get another one. So yeah, feeling happy about myself. So I thought I'd bomb off the front doing 300 watts. This was intentional though. I'm thinking of that group being a bit too big. We've got 12 kilometers left, so I'm not expecting for 1 second that we're going to. I'm going to stay off until the end. But what I am thinking is, you know, let's get people working a bit harder here, because it's been quite easy, or for me personally it was. And there's my mate in the same kit as me, like brothers. They come along and they keep pushing it on a little bit, so I think I join in again, and we thought, well, let's see if there's anyone who's struggling in here. And at one point, there's a couple of times this happens, and at one point there is a second or two gap, you know, from people further back, and you've just got to assume they're going to have to really put some work in to get back into this group. So I pop at the back again here to see if I'm still in 12th, and I am. So I can then see all that group is there. But again, that was intentional. I would never have done that before. So all of a sudden I've got a bit of racecraft. So I'm going back there. I'm looking at the times, and then just to make sure, I'm dropping back to 12th place just to make sure, just to see if anyone got dropped. If I was in 11th, then I might have gone back at the front and pushed again, because then we've lost one more person. Again, we have a very small hill there, but we just powered through it. And yeah, the race is shaping up, isn't it? There's 12 of us. We're all seem to be doing okay. The only thing I've noticed is on the hills, I'm doing better than a lot of people. So again, here I'll just punch up that hill. If you look at my wattage on the top, so I've gone to about 350, 290 just to get up the hill. And then I'm thinking, I don't want to go off the front, so I'll just slow down a little bit. But I'm up the hill in second place. Normally, I would now be in 12th, dropping off the back. So I'm quite pleased. And then I've hit a King of the Mountains here. And I did this the other week we went the other way. And then we turned around and we came back up this way in that 50-mile ride. And you'll see I smash a PB here, because again, I'm just putting down, it's on an incline of 5, but I'm just putting 300 or so watts down, thinking I'm going to punch up hills today. I'm not going to be the spin up the hill and save my legs for another day and then catch up again. I just don't want to do that. I'm feeling all right. So there's Mr. Spinny Man again going crazy. So I bomb off the front. Thought, well, I sod it. Feeling all right. So again, that's a big effort for me. 295 watts and watts per kilogram. What am I over there? Can't see that. 3.5 or 3 watts per kilogram. So yeah, and I'm seeing a few gaps. So I'm thinking, there's 12 of us left. Third time now, I put a bit of effort in on a climb, and I've got gaps. And normally that's the other way around. So I'm thinking, right, this is working. Keep doing that. I'm not really going off the front here. I'm keeping the hammer down, thinking that if a couple of people join me, we could end up losing a couple. And if you can see in the timings on the right now, we've got one person 1 second behind, one person 2 seconds behind. You're thinking, right, well, that's... Yes, they'll probably all catch up again, but they're actually having to work hard. And I'm not feeling too bad right now. Again, just let everyone overtake me and then just find a draft. And one thing that did happen in this race, which I think, and you can see I've gone again, there's 12 people, and I've noticed the guy who's got spinny legs, who's really fast, and I've noticed this pink guy, and I've noticed the guy in the orange there on the right with his Rastafarian hair. I haven't really noticed anybody else, but I bet that they know who I am, because I've gone off the front about 5 or 6 times. Yes, I look like the other guy, so they might just think it's a different person, but I'm constantly sort of saying, look, I'm all right here. So I'm not hanging on at the back after I've done an attack. I'm sitting in the group, and then I'll go at the front again just to wave at them. Hello. So I'm trying to be a bit bullish, feeling okay on my legs. You can see me in the bottom left there. I'm not actually that tired. I'm just bombing along, and I am feeling a little bit. Maybe it's that normally I do races on the night, and because this is an afternoon race for me, maybe I've got a bit more on my legs. So yeah, it's 9.8 kilometers, and again I think I go back in a minute to see if we'd lost anybody. I think I'm actually just looking at the times there, and we haven't, have we? So they've caught back up again, but yeah, somebody's having to work hard, because we were at the front there for a second. Yeah, again, that little gap used to bother me. Did you see that? It just doesn't now, because I don't think for 1 second I'm getting dropped. I just think, just put a tiny bit of power in, then you'll be in the middle again. And I can't stress enough, when I first started, me being in this position right now, if you look at me there, I would think I'm going to be in trouble there. I'm thinking, if I don't hang on to that wheel, I'm in big trouble. And I'm quite comfortably now could drop back a bit, and then I have here, look, I've dropped back, not really worried, just go up to 300 watts and get back in again. I don't know why my wattage keeps going red. There's something weird going on with Zwift today, but I'm just hoping it holds out to the end, because I've put myself in a fairly good position. We're in the balloon area with all the balloons up in the sky. Look, 9 kilometers left, so we're starting to jockey for positions. We're starting to put a little bit of power in. That other group, I still think, 35 seconds behind, so they're not coming back. So one of us 12 is going to get a gold trophy on our mantelpiece, and I'm still hoping it's me. I've never won a race yet, but I am. My FTP is moving up the right direction, so I'm getting to the top of a D category now. So the fact I haven't won a race, if I don't win one soon, I'll be losing them again in B races. So C races. So I've got to win one eventually. Is it today? That's the question. If you're still with me, you're going to find out. So again, I'm off the back, but I don't care. I'm not getting dropped. And I must admit, I was saying a second ago, when we were punchy at the front, someone dropped off the back. They might be exactly the same. We're all in this front group, which means we can all put out a big effort to get in the front group in the first place. And I'm not sure if, apart from on the hills, when I've noticed that there's gaps, I don't think many people are struggling on the flat. I think they're quite happy. They don't want to lose the draft. They sat at the back. We're all taking our turns to be a bit punchier, and we're all taking our turns at the back getting a rest. So I think we're all in a good place. I got an aero. I'm very pleased with myself with that. Thinking I might need that for the sprint. But I'm also thinking, the next hill I get here, I feel great. I really do. I'm feeling great at the moment. I'm thinking, do you know what? I'm going to punch up this hill, and let's see what happen. So 8 kilometers left, and I'm thinking, if I see another hill, I'm going to, first time ever, take advantage of a hill rather than think, as if from a defensive point of view, drop down a couple of gears and spin up the hill, lose a few seconds and try and use that weight advantage I've got on the downhill to catch back up again. But then the effort's nothing, then a lot on the downhills, and because I've seen me get to the front on 3 or 4 hills, I'm thinking, well, why change that tactic? And this maybe is the perfect course for me, where the hills are only 10 seconds of effort, and then all of a sudden you're up them. A bit like when I'm off the back, I can just put 3 or 4 seconds of effort in. that's what I think I've got a lot better at. So this is perfect, where I've just got a tiny bit of a hill, bang, 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 all of a sudden you're up it. And then when I saw them gaps, I'm thinking, right, okay, tack on the hills. So again, we're hitting another hill here. It's only a gradient 2, gradient 3. Again, you'll probably see me just sort of making sure I'm in the middle, and then I might ramp up a little bit just to get, I'm going up to 200 watts just to get a bit further up the road, 300 watts again. So, and I'm covering this. So I'm covering my mate who's in the same kit as me. Don't know him, but he's... Oh, I'm the only other English guy on the board as well, by the way. So all of us, this was a multinational event. So I'm going for it for King and Country. Sorry, yeah, it was Queen and Country. I'm going for it for King and Country, thinking I'm the only British guy on the board in that first group. So, yeah, very multinational. There's all sorts of different nationalities in there. So again, we'll come up to the balloon area. I think there's a balloon sprint in a minute. I don't know if I use my aero, if I'd get another one. You probably do, but I don't want to lose that aero, so I don't use my power up here. And you can see everybody else is, can't they? I don't know why, if you've got an aero, you'd use an aero when you might not pick up an aero. I don't know. I assume they all got one. I didn't, because I want to keep it. And that's spread things out a little bit, because everyone used their power-ups, there's quite a lot of acceleration. So you can see I was pushing out 320 odd watts just to stay with people, because their power-ups is giving them a big advantage, especially the people who had aeros. So again, we've bombed off the front, we're hitting another hill, we're on the cobbles, which is harder, isn't it, on a road bike. You can see in the bottom corner I'm out the saddle, but I'm only out the saddle there to give my legs a rest. I wasn't out the saddle to get any more power. I thought I'll just stretch my legs because we're coming near the end, so I dropped down a couple of gears just to stand up. And yeah, I don't think I've felt as well as this in a race, apart from the last one, which I said I came second, where I just couldn't catch people up because I started too late. So yeah, I'm again, I think I'll go back in a minute just to check this 12 in there. I know I can see it, but I think there still is 12 in the group. And we've not got rid of anybody, even though there's quite a lot of toing and froing going on. Again, we've got a punchy hill, so 70 metres of climbing. So I do know there's probably only 50 metres of climbing left, or something like that, whatever it was, 136 or 126, whatever it was. And I'm actually embracing that now, thinking, well, if there's not much climbing left, and we're on another gradient here, so there's another 5 metres we're going to climb. So yeah, I've got off the front again, and it's just all because of how I'm feeling. You can see me in the bottom left there, not really panting too much. Heart rate's 142, which has gone up a little bit. It was steadied off at 120 odd, but there's a point here where there's nearly 6 kilometers left. I think I just drop the back a bit and just try and steady my breathing, and essentially try and bring that heart rate down, ready for the sprint. And my sprinting has got a little bit better. I can sustain quite a heavy mid-sprint before I sprint. That's what I'm trying to do. So I would normally go off and try and do 400, 500 watts and then get it up to 700, then die. But at least it ramps itself up rather than it just be a tiny effort. It can be a mid-sustained effort with a punch at the end. So I try and... that's what I've been practicing a little bit on the group rides, when we go off the front and do a sprint, then go back into the group. I've been trying to do a lot more watts early before I sprint, while I'm sat down, and get it up to 400, 450 watts, and then punch off the top of that. But I don't know what these guys are like at sprinting, but they're all D group riders, so we're all around the same, aren't we? So we'll see. So again, we're coming to the business end now. We've got 5 clicks left. I've just said 5 clicks in the corners, look. So I think I'm paying attention to the screen, actually. I'm really... If you look at me in the bottom corners for a minute, I am thinking, right, just steady away. Breathe. Have a drink. I think I've got a tiny bit of sugary drink left. I think have a bit of that. Fill your brain thinking you've had loads of sugar. You've got your power up, and I'm thinking now back to this classic race, reverse classic race I did in London, where I did the perfect race, and then I let 6 people get off the front of me thinking, oh, they've gone too early. And then I'm thinking I'm Cavendish and can catch them up. I'm not Cavendish, and I couldn't catch them up. Well, I got all of them but one, but he won by 3 seconds. So I'm thinking, why not go off the front a little bit more? And if I get caught, I get caught. At least I've got that little glory moment of being off the front for a little bit to see. If you don't dream, you never know what's going to happen, do you? So that's my plan today, not to die wondering. I don't want to sit there going, well, I wonder what would have happened if I was the guy who went off the front, because nobody else will have any legs left either. So if you bomb off the front, hopefully, I was hoping to do it about 500 meters to go and thinking, right, ramp it up, ramp it up, ramp it up, then punch for about the last 200. That was my plan in my head right now. And I'm going through that in my head. I'm actually sat in that bottom corner, look, and I'm thinking, right, okay, don't let anybody get off the front. If anybody gets, and I'm looking at their power. I'm looking at everybody's power. When somebody goes off the front, I'm looking at their watts per kilogram, thinking if you get up to 3, I'm chasing you. If you are just a 2.1 or a 1.8 and you get on the front, that's just the natural circulation of the group, you know, about you know, Zwift just moves you at the front when you're holding them watts, and it moves someone back, and then they get the draft and they come forward. So that washing machine effect I'm all right with. But if somebody was to just bounce onto a 3 watts per kilogram average, so I'm consciously looking, you can probably see me, at that grid to see if anybody is, I mean, what am I on now? I'm on 2 watts per kilogram now, 1.7, 1.8. But I'm consciously looking at the people at the front thinking, if anybody gets anywhere near a 3, I think that's an attack. So, and it hasn't yet. And what have we got left? 3.4 kilometers still in it. What do you reckon? Put in the comments maybe, or subscribe, and put in the comments at this point where you think I'm going to finish. If you've watched all my other races, you probably think it'll be 2nd or 3rd or nowhere. That's what it generally is. But again, I'm going up a bit of a hill. I seem to be ploughing up that hill, and I'm not really massively trying. So either everyone's struggling on them hills, or I've just got legs today. I don't know. But then I'm just thinking, well, if I'm off the front, come on then. Let's put a bit in and let's see what you got. And this is where you can see 3 of them people in the group now have got 1 second gap, and I'm not going, this isn't my attack. This is just me going, let's test the water, see what you got. Stronger riders will just stick on my wheel, and then we'll go again. And the other riders who have got 2 seconds offers, one of them now. So there's 4 riders off the back there, 1 second or 2 seconds off. Yes, they're going to catch up, but they'd have to put something in. And then I'll go at the back again just to see, is there still 12? I know I could just be looking instead of doing that. And we've lost a couple of looks, so we haven't lost them, but they're 1 second back in a little group, and they're going to have to put a bit of work in, and we've got 2.5 clicks left to go. So this is the business end, so I will give you some commentary of me. Again, we're going downhill now, and being a heavy rider, I thought, again, just throw a little bit in. Don't mind being at the front there. I'm not really pumping my legs too much. I just don't want anybody else to get away. But can you see the whole the whole complexion of this race has changed a little. Again, I can just throw in some watts to get that back. I'm confident about doing that now in the where I am in the D category riders. I know I'm near the top of that now, like 240 FTP, something like that, watts per kilogram. So again, looking good. Panting a bit in the corner. Shouldn't be doing too much of that. But there we go. And this is where the whole game changes. So we've got another incline. We're over 100 meters climb now. I'm again quite easily just pushing up through the field here without really attempting too much. I'm a bit worried about him, but then I look, he's gone off the front there, look, but I'm looking at his watts, and he's on 3.1 watts, and I'm thinking, oh, you could be off trying to do a long one, 1.9. So I cover this a little bit. Me and my mate, who I don't even know, we cover this, and then I don't just cover it. I thought, well, let's go on then. You know, if you can hit your 3 watts per kilogram, then I'll raise you, and And again, we start seeing some gaps at the bottom there. You start seeing a few gaps of a few people. Then we'll still be working to get us back, and they get us back, look. But again, that didn't hurt me going to the front. That wasn't me attacking, that was me covering. So here we go again. 1.4 kilometers left. We're all back together more or less. There's a couple of 7-second gaps. I think we've lost a couple. Look, if you look at, I'm in 8th place now. And I've had to put some work in there, but I'm in 8th place, so we've lost 4 people with that sustained effort. And I've got a choice. Do I wait for the sprint here, or do I take advantage of this hill? And this is where the game changes, because I'm off. And I can't believe I did this, and it was just weighing up the whole solution. If you look at my wattage now, I thought I've got 400, 440, 460, so watts per kilogram. I'm kicking out 5.4, which is massive for me. But I've been doing a lot of these sustained effort when I've been sweeping in group rides. So I've gone, and I'm thinking, no turning back now. 3 seconds ahead, 4 seconds ahead. So I'm not sprinting here. I'm trying to maintain 350 watts or 404 watts per kilogram, knowing that they're going to be flying at me at the end. So this is my attempt to live by the sword or die by the sword. So again, I'm managing to keep the wattage up. I'm not flat out. My heart rate's 156, so I'm really putting it in. I'm just trying to keep it around 283, 300 watts, higher than that whenever I can. And I'm looking at that 0.4 kilometers to go. I've hit my aero up. Thinking I'm all in. I'm thinking my aero, everything. If I was a balloon, I'd be shedding weight. I'd be throwing heart rate monitors off and everything, because I'm thinking I've never won a race in my entire life. And I'm still seeing that gap at 7 seconds, 6 seconds, but I know how fast it can close if I die. So I get out the saddle in a sec, here you go, and I haven't got much left. 340, 400, this is my big effort. It didn't go up to 700 like it has done in practice, because I've just gone too early. Kilometres worth of effort. Still got a 7-second lead. I mean, I can't believe I didn't put my arms up. But there we go. I've always wanted to win a race like that. I've talked about it in other races, and the fact I've won my first race by going off with a kilometre to go and out time trialing everybody, if you like, and just picking the moment on the hill to get that gap of 3 or 4 seconds. And I think what I've always thought in the past is I'm tired, so I can't go too early. And what I did on this race was thinking, well, if I'm tired, everyone else is tired. And every time I've gone up a hill, I seem to gain on you guys. So why not push up that last hill? I didn't know. I know there's a kilometre left. I didn't know what the terrain was fully. I had watched that race before, but yeah. So there we go. You can see, top of the pile, first win, Gold Cup, boom. So hopefully you'll join me again for my next race. But that's a monkey off my back. That one is. I'm very proud of how I did it, especially the going off the front. Not sure that'll work every time, but on that type of course it did. Thanks for watching. See you next time.